Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, it's kind of like a really simple beginner's question, but okay, if you are a new student of Kabbalah and you were in the preparation stage and you are trying to make yourself similar to the attributes of the Creator so that you can start experiencing some of these things we're talking about, I don't exactly understand the timeline of some of the things. Are these things that happen before creation? Are these things that happen after I become more similar to the Creator? What's happening?
Well, I'll give you two answers because you had two questions really there, and both of them are really big. So we have not got, and the timeline here is before the creation of Adam and Hava. We're just talking about the desire and the creation of the desire and the creation of the setup of the worlds that are coming. Okay, the spiritual worlds haven't even been created yet. Now, remember, in spirituality, this happens there's just a flash of this whole process because the Creator just does this and it happens instantaneously. But with the restriction in the creation of the worlds, we start to enter time-space, right? So, especially our world here in this galaxy, this universe here, this is time-based and clunky and slow and dense. So things are different. They're not the same in the spiritual. It's a totally different environment. But there, things are instantaneous. So it's said that we're already in our perfection there. That we're only going through the motions here to figure out how we got to where we got, kind of. So we haven't gotten to the garden. We haven't gotten to the spiritual worlds. We haven't gotten to the creation of Ab, Sag, Ma, Bon, all of these, Galgata, Etikyomen, all the worlds, all of this stuff. This is coming. Right now we're just defining how the desire was developed by the Creator and what happened after that. So that's one part of it. And Chris, I had the same this is common questions, so it's not a simple or stupid question at all. The second thing is to understand, I believe your second question was, how do you begin to develop the desire in order to start this path correctly? And that is really an answer that I think will come. We're going to talk about it more. We talked about it a little bit today. We're going to keep talking about it. And we have to understand how to develop that. We have to understand how to get in that right state, because right now, unfortunately, in our current condition, we don't really know how to bestow correctly. And that's the problem. We're not really sure how to do that in the right environment in order to make a revelation. If we did, we would have revelation, period. Because we know by the spiritual laws that I would tear down the curtains that hid the light from me and I would be there. Okay, there's no coercion in the spirit, and we would have to maneuver necessarily to that state, and we'd know about it instantly. There would be no question. And we can only lie to ourselves. So in order to get to that state, that is the $1 million question. It's always been the $1 million question. It's always been the secret that are hidden in Kabbalah, the secret of revealing the secrets of Da'as, the secret of Sefer Yetzirah and the Zohar and what they're talking about, and the secrets hidden in Bereshit and all of these parts of the Torah. And we're going to get there, but they need to, just like the desire evolved, they need to evolve as well. And so, trust me, stick with it. I'm going to keep going. All of us, everyone involved in the group, are going to keep pushing you toward this state, this way to aim yourself. For now, do not give up anything you do in your life. Don't hold yourself, restrict yourself to anything. Don't think that you're going to, stop having donuts and suddenly have revelation of God. This isn't going to happen like that. Okay? You're going to go through a part which I mentioned before, like what they call in alchemy the discovery of the dragon or the dragon's cave. And you're going through that already because you're realizing in these ups and downs, in this transition, that you can't quite do what is expected to you. On some level, spiritually, you know this, but your corporal mind doesn't understand this yet. And that's part of it too. So just have faith that you're on the right path right now, and as we go, we're going to definitely break this down and get you to where you need to be. Believe me, okay? So I'm sorry that that's not really the answer you want right now, but I promise you soon it'll hit you in the head like a hammer, and I will push you there. So I hope that's good enough for now. Anybody else? Philippe, do you want to add anything else?
Maybe that's what Chris was asking,
Sure.
if it was before the creation or after the creation. There is another sentence in Judaism that said, Merades bechol yom ma'aseh bereshit. Each day is renewing the process of creation. This tells me that the process of creation was not something that happened at a certain time, but it is always happening. In a sense, what I'm doing here is not I'm trying to do something that was done once, and I'm just trying to repeat it. I'm doing the creation now, that process of creation, that motion between the or that are creating the kli, and it's coming back, or roser, the or makif, or yasar. All this, I am creating it now. It's not like, that's why when they say that there is no time, space, or motion in spirituality, so they tell me it is, in a sense, at all the time. Now, if I would say creation happened, and now we are now, and we're doing it, then something, even in spirituality, will have been a limited concept. So in a sense, in your question, is it before or after? It is happening now. Creation is happening now.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. It's just sort of like how I was explained a while ago by a great rabbi who said that to me, it's like someone singing and asking, and they're constantly holding a note and trying to find the beginning and the end in an infinite song, in an infinite note. And the vibrations of the note go outwards, and the upper and lower vibrations see themselves as different and in a state. But in reality, that note is just being constantly sung, and those vibrations are constantly echoing. So, sort of a cool concept. But yeah, Chris, just on the one hand, I know what you're saying is are we speaking about our world? And no, we're not in the text. But Philippe is right that all of this is sort of a continuous motion of energy waves, if you will, vibration of sound, of that kind of idea. Anybody else? Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, to Chris as well, I would just like to kind of agree with Philippe there and Felipe. There's, think about it, everything is in potential. And what does it mean creating the desire? You're finding an aim where you're going to actualize that potential in order to spread forth creator's influence, basically. That's, everything is in potential and it's happening now, and you are just one perfect thought or a desire away from actualizing next level or degree of the degree, and it's all in the degrees. So it is a fascinating concept, but as Razi said before, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks, or like me. Something's going to hit you there.
Yeah, one of us will hit you. Yeah, if it doesn't hit you, we'll hit you. Yeah. Yeah, you're in for it, Chris. So.
Okay, so I have another question.
On the same Skype at the same time. I don't get how that worked out, but it's all good. I wanted to say that this, through all of the text that we read here, going slow like this, you may not know the vocabulary of everything you're hearing or everything you listen to, but at about, I think, the 145th time you read it, something clicks. And that's when we were talking about yesterday and the day before, these moments where I got it. It's not that you get it. It's not that you understand, I know what Zitzum means now. It's not something like that. It's what you're doing as you read, like we talked about vibration of the words, is when I say Zitzum and Halal and Zitzum and Agol and all this other stuff, and I'm reading all this and I'm reading it, and the way that it is going into my brain housing group, it's creating tools, or it is the tools, but it's creating work on the machine inside of my soul, building this kli. And that's what we are feeling as we read this. We have no clue what we're understanding or what we're trying to understand. It's just little tinkets fixing itself back together inside of us, building this kli. And after many, many times of reading this and trying to build the desire to understand this, you start to get it filled. And now that you have the Kli, you start to get some, I'll just call it light, water, whatever you want to call it. You start to feel this Kli. And then you start to feel this drive or a hunger to keep on this path. I can't tell you any reason why I would ever in my entire life read this text. But when I do, it's just like, I don't know why, I just do it. I have no clue what I'm getting out of it. I'm just doing it. Right. And so like Anna was saying, the vibration and the words, this is creation. We're creating right now. And by doing this, we have no idea what we're doing in ourselves because we can't really see it with our eyeballs. But after tonight, and you go to bed, and after tomorrow you wake up, you're going to start to feel it more and more and more. And that's kind of the point I was getting at, is that just let it, when I say just let it work on you, it just does. It just works on you, and it's a beautiful thing. Sorry if I was way off the block there.
No, that's actually right, dead on. It's dead on. That's exactly how it hits you. You just keep diving into the text, and slowly you see that it comes alive to you, because we don't really generate the ideas. The ideas are sort of born to us through memory. Chris, you also said you had a question before we got off. Do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I remember learning that, I receive in order to please the Creator, and then I place a restriction, and it's like I'm been given a fancy meal, and I decide that I'm only going to have just a salad and not the rest of the meal or whatever, and all these different things. And there's like the first restriction, the second restriction, and all these different things happen in the chart. And I'm like, if I'm just at the preparation stage, do I need to be expecting these things to happen? Like they talk about this unbearable, experience whenever you figure out that, you can't receive the light, and the second restriction, and like, do I have this to look forward to, or like, what's going to happen?
Okay. So this is you're talking about a bunch of different things, and some of the things you mentioned are an analogy put forth by one of the groups that you're a part of. So I understand the analogy of having this meal, and this is okay, but let's don't focus on this, because the problem I have with this analogy is it brings us to physicality, right? And I know that's the only way we can really look at it right now, all right? And I understand the point of it. Definitely, I understand that, but this right now, Chris, there's no way for you to really understand the path except for your ability to continue to grasp the concepts that are provided by it. What happens is, as I slowly dig into this information that's provided in the text and through our group and through understanding the relationships and sort of the concepts there, I slowly unlock and unleash something like I think Philippe mentioned it was like a muscle, right? This is a great way to look at it. So the more that I activate this muscle, the stronger it gets. I like to think of it like also a coma, right? So at one point you're in a coma in this world. You're just completely out. And then at some point you start to wake up, but it takes you a while in order to generate your faculty again, to understand it. You can't just hand you an encyclopedia and say, look this up for me the second you come out of a coma. It takes a little bit of time. So in order for you to jump up, put on your stuff, and go, skateboarding, that is a big degree of separation between the second you wake out of a coma and the moment you go do that. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So right now, the most important thing for you to do is be involved in this kind of thing, what we're doing here, okay? In order to have you asking questions and slowly eating the soup and digging into this, what happens is quickly over time, it just starts to unravel to you. And you suddenly start to go, oh, yeah, I get that. I get that now. And it slowly opens itself up to you. But it's like a flower, it's got to bloom. And believe me, I'm the last person in the world to tell you to be patient, because I'm not. And when I dive into anything, I want it now, and I do it as much as I can now until it happens, right? So I'm like the road warrior, right? Like I'll break, crash, and kick down everything in my way. So I know it's hard to hear, just go with this right now and keep diving into the material as much as you can, and the answers are located there. You know, that's really the best advice I can give you, because that's really where you're going to find the answers. The desire you have right now is good. That's where you want to maintain it. You want to keep pushing yourself to know, because then it reveals itself. It's really not so much that in tests or Zohar or Sefer Yetzirah we learn so much. That's not really the case. There's a lot to know there. There's a lot to understand, and it's vital to the path. But it's more about allowing us to understand how to point our desire correctly, really. So, Philippe, did you jump in?
Yeah, I was just trying to tell him.
Sure.
The meal, that idea of a meal, anything I do, I can use as an analogy. The idea of sharing the meal, because I was a part of a BB group too, a physical group, for a little while. And we had that concept of sharing the meal and having, but it's an analogy of sharing that spiritual light. That's all what I do in life, and that's where I differ someone from BB. All what I do in life, I'm able to utilize. It's like I have, like we were saying, I'm in coma, I look at it as I don't have glasses on, and I don't see very well. Reality is there, and I'm knocking on the wall all the time because I don't see, everything seems blurred to me. Now more I'm developing through the study, through seeking it, through developing that desire to get closer, something happened, I'm almost building glasses upon me. But certainly that same reality that I always look at, the same thing that I always done, certainly have a different test. I'm getting something else into it. In a sense, I'm connecting, both have branches, and I'm connecting to that fruit. So in a sense, doing the meal is good. Doing all what I do, I believe that it is still beneficial when I'm trying to figure out within it, what does it cause to me? What's happening inside me when I'm doing those things? Am I doing only a corporal action, like an outside action, and that's all I'm doing? Like we spoke, I think, before about like religious people, they can do all the Talmud, they can do all the mitzvah, and it is an outer behavior. It's totally outer, and there is no inner sensation, inner conviction of what's going on. Or am I also developing that inner conviction in it, that sensation that's happening when I'm doing it? And when I connect the two things, because I cannot do only one or the other, I have really to balance both of it. But what I'm doing with that inner sensation, then suddenly I start growing. And suddenly something's happening. And it's not really because I am working so hard at it, like we just learned now. It's that pulling from up above. Something is pulling me to it. And I think that's, I don't know if I answered really your question. I hope so, Chris, but it helped you to understand.
No, I think that's good, Philippe. I like that a lot. I think that the problem with Chris, and we both know that, I think a lot of people in this chat right now know this, is that Chris is asking, how do I do that? And Philippe, that's probably the best answer you could give. To be honest with you, I love it. But I know his frustration just like you do, and Amila, Joe, everyone knows his frustration. He's asking, show me, write it down, and I'll do it every day until I reach the goal. Because that's how we are, right? We want to know exactly the steps. But unfortunately, Chris, as good as the explanation is, and I hope you got something out of that too, this is something that because it's so internal and it's so deep, it's going to be really hard for us to show you this thing. We're going to keep pushing you in the right direction, but you're going to, as we keep talking about it, you're going to eventually go, I'm getting it, I'm feeling it, I'm doing it, I'm seeing it, and it's coming to me. As, like Philippe says, like the glasses, right? The sight's going to get slowly better, and you're going to start to slowly awaken into a new reality, and this reality is going to slowly appear to you as you struggle with playing with these toys like a kid in a huge tractor, right? You put him up in there, and he's just not really utilizing the vehicle correctly, but he's pulling, and eventually he grows up, and he can just jam on that thing. This doesn't take as long, but it's still the same kind of process. You still have to get your sight back, and it does evolve. So, like Philippe said, it does take a little bit of time. So just hang in there. Trust me, you're making strides, and you're going to continue to make huge leaps and bounds, and eventually realize what it is the Ensof is asking you to do, essentially, or what you need to do in order to reveal it to yourself. And you just have to have a little faith there at first. So, Chris, do you have anything else? Is that pretty good, or do you have any other questions?
No, that helps a lot. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So is everybody else good? Anything else?